everyone, glad you could join us. I wanted to give you guys a quick how-to on using Zoom, do a little series on this. I'm Dr. Gale, and hopefully you guys will be able to get something out of this by the end. Now, in the 90s and early 2000s, that Mazda kid from the commercials predicted that Zoom would take over the world. And although it's not just Zoom, it's online meetings and conferences based on the pandemic happening, Zoom is one of the more popular ones out there, and one that I'm very familiar with. We've done online classes with it, online meetings with it, had families kind of doing virtual Christmases with it. Even during the pandemic, my friends from the Boardroom Studios, we ended up playing board games using Zoom and made that work. So Zoom is, again, just one of those that just really kind of came to the forefront with the pandemic. So we want to make sure we know how to use it. And especially if you're going to be using it with students in a classroom or having to do some kind of virtual class with it, we want to make sure we can get in there and use the tools to make the experience awesome with them. So let's go ahead and get you started. And any time that you're starting with a tool like this, the first thing you're going to have to know is how to launch an actual online meeting room and how to get your people into the online meeting room. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting in there by yourself, and it's very lonely and hard to do stuff with a communication tool when you're only in there by yourself. So let's go ahead and take a look at how to do that. We're going to focus mainly on this video on how to launch your Zoom room and how to get people to be able to join in your Zoom room. All right, so this is going to assume that you already have created a Zoom account. If you hadn't, check in the description and we'll put a video in there on how to create a Zoom account. You would end up doing that on zoom.us. And once you end up launching your first meeting in that video, it will install the desktop software, which is basically an instant messaging tool that you see here on the screen. So if I go to my chat, you can have your instant messages on the chat. If you go to your meetings, it does your scheduled meetings, but we're just going to launch a meeting on the fly from this tool. And that's where we're going to start here on the home page. Now you can see we've got a couple of icons down here. If you want to join one that somebody else has set, you can go ahead and do that there if you don't have the direct link. Again, you can schedule one for the future, or you can do your share screen, but what we're going to hit up is the new meeting. Now you've got two different types of new meeting. You can start it with a video or not with a video. I'm going to go ahead and leave it where it doesn't have the video turned on, which you can tell with the recorder since I'm doing a screen capture. Let me go ahead and click it, and it will launch me directly into my room. All right, and there's that stunning looking fellow right there in the middle. Again, if I had my webcam turned on, it would actually turn the webcam on and I'd see a video of myself. Over here, you can see that the audio is working. If I want to go ahead and switch it around, I can mess with my speakers to make sure my output's good. I can mess with my microphone, but that little green thing is jumping up and down, so I know the microphone's working pretty good. I feel good about that. Now there's a million tools down here. We'll cover that in another video to start kind of talking about how to use the different tools. The one we want to go ahead and look at first is the participation menu. So if I do the participation menu, it pulls it up over on the right hand side here, and what we're looking for is this invite button down on the bottom. Now if you've got some people that you know down here on the bottom, and you can see it's kind of blurred out, but I do have contacts in here, people that have contacted me in the past and all that kind of stuff. I can go ahead and directly invite them by clicking on that, or one of the easier ways I usually do it is by clicking this copy invite link button down at the bottom. And when I do that, it puts it on my clipboard. So if I go to somewhere, like let me open up real quick my notepad, and opening that up, I can just go ahead and paste in here. There you go. And if I just go ahead and hit Control V to show a paste, boom, that is the link to my actual Zoom room that is live right now. So if I go ahead and copy again, invite link, it automatically puts it in there. And I can show you again, Control V, boom, there's the link. What that allows me to do is I can actually either send that as an instant message to somebody. I can go ahead and send that as an email to somebody. So maybe I go into Gmail and I would send out the link to my friends over at the Boardrooms Studios when we're ready to play the board game. Then they would have that link. They would just click on the link, boom, come in as a guest, and they would join in the room. So either way works. Once that link is sent out, again, I do that with my classes too. I would just go into my email and I would send it out to everybody in the class and say, here's the Zoom link, come on in when you're ready. Or if there's an individual student that needed to come in for some reason, they were sick, they're out of town or whatever, again, I would launch the room, I would send that in there, and then they would be good to go. But make sure you send that whole link over to them. And then after that, mine has some password protections and I left the security on. So it would actually pop up in the participants window and I would have to allow them in. So they would pop up on the top of my participants list with a button over on the right hand side that says allow. I click allow and then that would let them in. If you have that security turned off, they would automatically just start popping in the participants room. Kind of up to you. At the beginning of the pandemic, there were a lot of Zoom bombs where random people would come in once they had the link and do some inappropriate stuff. So best practices was to put that on there where you had to allow them in. Now in the middle of a class or something, sometimes you're not looking, you're in the middle of teaching, and so that kind of got annoying, so some people took that back off. You just kind of have to balance that out with what you feel comfortable with. But like I said, if you have the security things put on there, just realize your participants will probably pop up on the top and you actually have to admit them into the room. Otherwise, they will just pop up randomly in the meeting and they will be in there and live and start talking to you. So that's the basics of how to go ahead and get people into your rooms. And how to launch that Zoom room from the initial desktop application portion. So if you guys have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, make sure you hit that subscribe button and we'll start popping up the rest of the Zoom videos in here. And that way you get a notification on those so that you can kind of go and start figuring out how to use all these crazy features down on the bottom. All right, if you guys have any questions, let us know in the comments and we'll be happy to make a video on it. Thanks, guys.